Hi and welcome to episode 46 of the This Is Reportage podcast. My name is Alan Law, I'm the founder of This Is Reportage and This Is Reportage family, and I'm a photographer too. Great to have the fab Darren Kirwan with us today. Darren is one of the very best wedding photographers in Ireland. He's won 7 Reportage Awards from us and is a speaker at Doc Day 2021 as well. We talk about lots of different things in the episode, with Darren sharing all about how he likes to work close and tips for doing that, the story behind one of his specific Reportage Awards, Zinedine Zidane, thoughts on the power of cropping, his journey into weddings, tips on working with videographers, and much more. Hey Darren, how you doing?
Alan, how's things?
I'm okay, yeah, all good, all good. How are things with you?
Good stuff. Yeah, all's good here. Quiet, obviously at the minute, but everything's good. I don't have too many complaints really.
That's good. That is good, especially at this time. Yeah, how is it? Because we can't ignore it. How has it affected you this year? And how have you been coping with it all?
Yeah, I suppose like business wise, it's been obviously a bit of a disaster. Pretty much all weddings when I should have been like shooting an absolute ton of them this summer. To be honest, I haven't done the figures exactly, but I'm at least probably 40 weddings out since the start of this, probably even more now at this stage.
Wow, man.
That would have shot I shoot enough, I do quite a few weddings, so I wouldn't be somebody
40.
that does, yeah, I wouldn't be somebody that does 30. I don't know, like last year I would have done somewhere in the region of like 65, I think, thereabouts. So
Really? Wow.
yeah, so like most of those are gone. There's a few kind of hanging in, and like another cancellation this morning for like
Mm.
November. So that's cleared November out. Was the kind of the last one. Yeah, so like business wise, it's been a disaster. But like to be honest, and I like personally, it's been amazing. Total opposite
Oh,
personally.
really? Yeah, you've been
Yeah,
okay then. Yeah, have you found the
yeah,
good sides?
yeah. Oh, definitely. For me, this has been a way more positive experience than it has been a negative because like what am I? I'm shooting 12 years now, and I suppose up until this point, I like because of the kind of figures that I do for weddings, like I never really kind of gotten a massive break.
Mm.
Like I used to before the kids came along, I used to always take November off and that, so I'd kind of have that 1 month where we kind of go away traveling or do something like that. But now it's kind of been just life is fairly nonstop, you know yourself with kids, and
Mm.
like this has kind of enforced that break on me, and it's been brilliant, like spending like the whole summer with the kids, and
Mm.
yeah, so but like it's yeah, that's been great. So I really have, I'm kind of in two minds. Like lucky I had I do have a quite successful business, I would say, that has allowed me kind of take this hit for this year, well, for 1 year anyway.
Right,
But
yeah.
yeah, but no, life is good. I've no complaints. It's been overall very positive experience for me.
Well, that's great to hear, man. That is really, 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 really good. Because, yeah, it's been a roller coaster for me as well. And like you, I've just lost virtually all my weddings. I shot one in January. I've not shot a wedding since January, actually.
It's
Have,
so mad, like, isn't it?
yeah. Have you shot any like kind of smaller kind of COVID ones or anything?
No, I was supposed to have one say last week, and we're like say the big, 14-hour day wedding or whatever, and then it was like a 2-hour wedding where we just covered the ceremony and did a couple of portraits afterwards for the family.
Right.
That was it. That's kind of as much as I'm doing at
Oh,
the minute. But
it's
anyway,
mad, yeah, isn't it? Fingers crossed for 2021. But
yeah,
as you
no,
say, I've spent a lot of time with my kids as well, and that's lovely. And they're back at school now, and the house is so quiet. It's odd.
no, yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. It's been strange, like, because your kids, I think, are similar in age to my own, right?
Oh, yeah, how old are yours?
So like just going on 6 and 3.5. So
Oh, similar-ish, yeah. So I've got
yeah.
8 and a 5-year-old. Yeah,
Okay, yeah. So they're getting on well back in school anyway.
that's good. Yes, yeah. Mine were happy to go back, so that's all good. That's all good.
Yeah.
By the way, during my research for this interview, I found someone saying this about you online, which is I just wanted to say because I thought it was really cool on weddingsonline.ie.
Okay.
And they said we had another photographer booked, but changed after we saw our friend's album. She used Darren and raved about him. Her album was fab. That is
stuff.
very cool. Yeah,
Right.
man.
It's kind of good to hear things like that. I haven't seen that one, but yeah, that's cool. I
That-
like because when yeah, because I've listened, like I said to you before, I've listened to the vast majority of the podcasts now. So and I hear you saying about like looking at information about say whoever you're speaking to online. I was like, Alan's gonna find it hard to find stuff about me because like I don't put much out there, certainly personally, like, and I only stick a few photos up on social media. Like, I never put out much kind of heavy content wise, and because I'd be quite a private person, say, when it comes to putting
Okay.
stuff out online. So I was like, Alan's gonna find it tough. And then and obviously you did the podcast with Alex Vita there recently about the websites. And I was like, oh man, he's gonna find nothing off my website. It's so terrible. Like, but at least you found something.
I did. I found a bit. I found quite a bit, man. I've got a lot of questions here. Yeah, you. I like the way your website though. It's just very clear. You know, it's just like great images. You don't need. You know, so many people have such kind of fancy stuff going on and stuff, but you don't need it. And you're proof of that with like 65 weddings and doing it 12 years or whatnot. You don't need all that stuff.
Yeah, yeah. I suppose the way I kind of set myself up, like I've a certain kind of target in the weddings that I kind of go for in that, and it's very much about kind of keeping it local. So my website, listen, my website's terrible, and
It's not.
I no, it is like, but lucky enough, the photos on it really show what I'm about, but like the rest of it is pretty disaster. And actually, during this whole COVID thing, I have I've half built a website, a new WordPress one,
Oh, cool. Yeah.
and just when no work is going on, my interest in it kind of all kind of plummeted really. Like so, I haven't been doing anything on it. I have it there now that the kids were kind of back from school last week. That's on my list to kind of get that done. I suppose I'm probably about 3/4 of the way through it, so I just need to kind of tighten up a few bits and get that launched. So it will be much better. But the
Oh,
kind of
okay.
website, it's never my website has never, I would say, affected the work I get. Um, so you kind of get lazy about certain things.
Yeah, I understand. Well, it's when things are working as well. It's like, if it's not broken, don't fix it. I understand that kind of way of thinking.
Yeah,
And it sounds like you've been so busy actually shooting the weddings and thus editing, so the website can go a bit on the back burner. So yeah,
yeah,
I
yeah. That's
understand
it.
that
I
totally.
mean, like you said, it hasn't affected it. Obviously, if you do it and you do it better, you might see kind of an increase. But yeah, I mean,
Hopefully. You're
I
doing
hit the
enough though.
numbers.
You're doing well. Yeah.
Well, that's it. I set myself a certain amount that I need to shoot every year. I get that without any problem at all. So, John, I'm
Apart
kind of
from the
happy enough.
worldwide pandemic thing.
Yeah, yeah. Apart from yeah, don't mention it.
So
Yeah,
you said
hopefully
you've
next
been
year.
doing this 12 years, which is a long time, man. It's cool. What's your journey? How did you get into this whole wedding world? Because you're based in Ireland, aren't you?
Yeah, yeah. So like, so I'm from Limerick in Ireland, which is kind of over kind of west coast side, not quite on the coast, like I said, the west of Ireland, and like so up until last year we moved kind of to a place a smaller village kind of about 20 minutes away last year. So up until that I kind of been in Limerick and that's where it's based. Like so how I got into weddings, basically I was myself and my wife, which my girlfriend at the time, we met traveling. So we were in
Cool.
Canada and that's where we met, and we
Oh,
moved down to
cool.
New Zealand and we lived there for a bit. So we were kind of like traveling for the guts of about 3 years, and I was doing nothing. I'd done kind of essentially nothing in college and all that.
Mm.
I'd done a couple of courses, but never kind of found anything that I really wanted to do. And when I was traveling, I was mixing between like say manual labor, between painting and working in construction sites and all this kind of stuff. But that's when I picked up my first camera, like when we were traveling, and I kind of from the moment I picked it up, I never put it down, and I was
That's
just
cool.
literally shooting everything and kind
What
of
was that? Do you remember what that camera was?
so my first like I had just a point and shoot originally. It was some sort of Fuji, if I'm right. I can't remember. But my first ever DSLR was the Sony Alpha 100 when
Oh, right, cool.
Sony released their first DSLR. I
Yeah.
kind of picked that up down in New Zealand.
Sony Pioneer, and now everybody else,
Yeah.
man. So
Yeah, well, I jumped ship actually a few years later when I actually started shooting weddings. So a couple of years later, I ended up in Canon. I went to college back here in Limerick. There's a photography college that I attended.
Oh, cool.
It's a kind of a 2-year course, and in the first year, in the kind of summer break between year 1 and year 2, I set up the business, and I shot my first wedding in between there, and kind of that's kind of it. Kind of kicked off from there.
Yeah,
Like
cool, man.
I had no great desires, like to be honest, like from the very beginning, I was like, right, how can I make money? I really enjoy doing photography. How can I make money doing it? And weddings was kind of the obvious one.
Yeah.
So kind of kicked off fairly, and it kind of snowballed fairly quickly, you know. So, and then here we are 12 years later, and I'm
That's cool.
half retired due to COVID, but
Yeah, temporary
yeah,
retirement.
yeah.
What was so it was a whole college, photography college then, yeah. So
Well, so like there's a course within the college.
okay, cool.
That was, yeah.
And was that good? Because whenever I hear about people studying photography, they always say there was kind of no or hardly any business side, no practical side to it really. And was yours similar, or did it have like practical elements?
Yeah, there was a bit of a business side to it, not too much. It was mostly focused on photography, and we'd all like darkroom side of it and everything, like, so we kind of
Right.
learned all aspects of it, and there was a little bit on the business, but I don't know, with the business side of it, I think for me, I kind of learned through doing, you know,
Mhm.
through like kind of working with people and just figuring it out as I went.
That's a good way to do stuff, though, isn't it? It's good. And do you remember your very first wedding? What was that like?
Yeah, it was. I was really lucky with my first one. Now, in fairness, um, I had this. I suppose for me, like I was what age was I? I was 25 when I first shot my first wedding, and
Oh, cool. That's
a
young.
couple. Yeah. I suppose not as young as you see some people doing it now, like, and they're like barely 20, and they're out
Yeah,
shooting these crazy weddings. Like, it's
that's
great.
true.
I wish that was me, but no, it wasn't.
Yeah, I wish I'd started younger. I was like 30 or so when I started.
Really?
Yeah.
Yeah. So like, I mean, listen, at least we're able to do it whatever stage, like, because it's a great old job, really.
Mm.
Um, so yeah, my first wedding was, oh, it's a mad one, like, because at that stage, and because I'd been away and traveling, like I couldn't even drive. So I remember like my best friend drove me to shoot this wedding.
That's cool.
And like his girlfriend, like, or certainly a girl he was seeing at the time, was like, there was a kind of, I was like, when you think back now, it's, you know, a little bit embarrassing, but the couple were great. I think it was their second marriage, so they were
Right.
just so easy going. Like I couldn't have been any kind of luckier with how it all went. Oh, like everything went well. Jeez, can't really remember the photos and that now, like, but I remember it all kind of kicked off quite nicely, and with
That's cool.
no real issues. Yeah,
Have you got any photos from that first wedding in your portfolio now?
no.
Nor do I, nor do
Yeah.
I.
Yeah. There's yeah, like I suppose it probably would have been in there for a while, right? Like, but I try and do it for the most part, like kind of not have any photos up online that would be more than 3 years old. And there
Okay.
probably a few have snuck through the net, but like I try not to. You know, plus as well, like, you know, as your style develops and grows, like you probably don't like your older stuff as much. That's certainly the case for me anyway.
That's true. And we do get better, hopefully. We get better
Yeah.
that way. It makes sense. I did a little portfolio review because I've been updating my website recently, and I think I did have some old images on my portfolio that I totally forgot about. And it's quite nice to do a refresh, but it takes a lot of work, doesn't it? It does take a lot
Yeah.
of work.
Yeah,
Mm.
definitely does. A lot of time that, you know, could, I suppose it is important, you know, but sometimes your attention just goes elsewhere.
Yeah, definitely. So you said so it's like 12 years ago, and you said it kicked off really quite well right from the beginning. How were you getting your kind of original bookings then? Did we put in like time into SEO and stuff, or was it word of mouth? How
Ah,
were you doing it?
Alan, I could not be more useless at that kind of stuff. Like for me at that time, like, if I'm right, like I wasn't even on Facebook. There was none of this stuff when I was starting off. Like, it was MySpace and Bebo, or kind of your social medias at that stage. No,
Yeah.
like what kicked it off for me was say between myself and well, Aideen, who was my girlfriend at the time, like, and now she's now my wife, like,
Oh,
but
cool.
we came up with this plan to kind of launch it, and we did kind of like a free wedding competition,
Oh, cool. Yeah.
kind of in the local paper, and it was basically kind of give away a free wedding, and then everyone kind of bring in this, you got to send in your contact details and all this, and the paper did the draw. But in getting everybody's kind of contact details in, I then like use that as an opportunity to send out like vouchers to them because I had their contact details. It's all
Clever.
before GDPR, and
Yeah.
I got a load of bookings that way. Yeah, and that kind
Oh,
of
clever.
launched me into like 30 weddings, I think, fairly
Right.
straight
Wow.
away. Like, yeah, so that was it. That was the big launch for my business. It worked out great. I don't know if you could do that now, like starting off, who knows? But
I
it
think it's a
worked
good.
really well for me.
I think it's still. I think that's still a good way to do things and start off. Were you kind of? Did you have a day job as well, or when you first started out, or were you just kind of all in on the photography? And
A bit all in. Now I was lucky because, say, at that time, like I mean, myself and Aideen were like living together with friends of mine, so we are like in a house share, and
right.
like so I was in the college, and I was still like doing bits and pieces like painting, odd jobs kind of stuff, and she was working full time. So we'd no great outgoings, rent was cheap, and we had kind of savings behind us from kind of working in that abroad and that, like, so
Right.
yeah, like we know I could fairly got into it, kind of dedicated my time to it. Like I didn't have to have a full-time job or anything as well. So
That's cool.
but then kind of 2 years in, I was kind of making enough money that we could, Aideen was working, and I was starting to get bits and pieces enough to get by.
Right. Yeah. Oh, good. And was your wife supportive from the get-go of your
Oh,
photography?
absolutely. Yeah, yeah.
Oh,
To be honest, I probably wouldn't have ended up doing this if it wasn't for her kind of
oh,
backing of me. Like, so she was the one that researched about the college and everything. Like, before we came home, she was like, I'd always been saying that I need to do something else. I didn't know what I wanted to do. And when she saw, like, obviously how much I was using the camera and just interested in photography, she's like, why not give this a shot? So that was it. So it's really down to her. Like,
oh, that's nice. Oh, brownie points if she's listening to this as well. Oh, cool, man. Okay, let's change tack slightly. Let's change tack. If you won the lottery, what would you spend it on, Darren? Would you still do wedding photography?
ooh, um, would I still do wedding photography? I
If
would
you're a
certainly
millionaire.
if I was a millionaire, maybe not. Like I'd probably just, I don't know what I do, Alan. You have these conversations, and like I like a nice, easy life. That's for sure. There's
Mm,
no like joy. I really do enjoy my work. Like I love it. So I'm very fortunate that way. I'd probably maybe still do it, but just not as many, obviously. And I'd probably
mm.
maybe up the prices, and just obviously I wouldn't need the money if I was a millionaire, but just I'd certainly be a lot more kind of choosy, and I wouldn't do the numbers just to give more
Right,
time
okay.
to the family and that. But what
Yeah.
would I do? I don't know, man. I do a lot of traveling, that's for sure.
Oh, that's cool. Yeah, and that's how you met your wife then. Is she from Ireland as well, though, or is she?
Yeah,
Yeah.
she's from Dublin, so
Okay. Nice.
yeah, so we
Cool.
met in Canada, but yeah, we've done quite a bit of traveling over the years, so we'd be back to that.
Ah, sounds good. Sounds good. It's a funny question, isn't that, as well? Because I think about it as well, and like, I just don't know. It'd be weird not to, what would you do with your daytimes if you didn't have to earn any kind of money at all? It takes something out of life in a way. It's be kind of,
Yeah, you kind of need those targets, right, or something to work towards and achieve.
yeah, yeah, funny.
Yeah,
Oh well, it'd be a good problem to have, though. I wouldn't mind having that problem
exactly.
to,
Yeah,
yeah.
definitely sign me up for that is the problem anyway.
Going back to your volume again of weddings. So did you say really that you've shot 65 in a year?
Oh yeah, yeah,
Wow, man, how do you cope though? I think people have just been really interested because, a lot of people who listens, they do similar numbers, 50 plus, and then there are others who only do like 15 or whatnot. How do you physically cope with doing like 65?
I don't know. I suppose for me, first off, like I'm the type of person that has to be doing something.
Right.
Like I can't just I relaxing time isn't very much. Like even like say throughout this COVID thing, like I kind of constantly need to be doing something. I can't just like sit down and watch the
Mm,
TV all out that much. Like so, um, Yeah, so how do I get through it? I don't know. Like, I mean, I suppose the one thing for me, and it's like most of my weddings are quite local. So
Right. Okay.
I would say I shoot about 95% of my weddings like within like an hour's drive of my house.
Right. That's cool. I guess
So,
that would help definitely.
so yeah, so that definitely helps. So
And how have you how do you get targeted local weddings specifically?
it's just it's word of mouth, you know. It's
Yeah.
that's it. Like I've never like it's been years, and I honestly can't remember. It must be what 6 or 7 years, probably more since I kind of did any sort of advertising.
Right.
So
Cool.
I'm kind of in a good area where like between say Limerick, Clare, Tipperary would be the kind of counties where I work quite a bit, um and there's a lot of good venues and a
Right.
lot of good like there's yeah, there's just kind of a lot of weddings kind of happen around here. And I suppose the fact that I stayed local and I've always have done, you just build your reputation locally, you
Mm.
know. So like friends and family, I would have joined. I like 90, probably 95% of my weddings come from referrals from other couples, you know.
Wow,
So
that's huge.
it just kind of builds up locally. That's kind of it, you know.
That's
So I
really cool.
never yeah, so like the few that I kind of do take on that would be a bit further afield would also probably be come from local weddings. You know, they're probably just going to somewhere a bit further afield to get married.
Right.
They're
Mm.
fairly local or they've some sort of local connection. So that's
That's
it.
helped. But then do you not like doing I guess you sometimes do triples, do you? Do you do triple headers?
Yeah, I do. I have done. I used to before the kids came along. I used to do more of them, but now I'm a lot more picky.
Mm.
Although next year is going to be nuts with triples if
Oh.
everything kind of all these rearrangements from this year going to next year. So
Yeah. How do you cope on that third one? I've only done it a few times. On that third one, I'm like, oh man, it's tough. It's tough.
yeah, like I think when I'm shooting, I'm fine. I just kind of not that I get through it. Like I think I kind of give as good on the third as I do in the first, but it's just it's after it's on day four when you're not doing anything, you're just KO'd.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. I mean, for me, I'm getting older now, man, and it's like even like the day after a single wedding, I'm a bit. You get that wedding hangover a bit. I did a triple though. I
The
think it was a couple.
McDonald's that.
Oh, the McDonald's helps, so man, that helps. Yeah.
Yeah.
I did a triple couple of years ago though, where I was in Cornwall the first night, and then I was in Norwich, which was like the total other side of the UK, and then I was back in Cornwall on the third. So that was a killer.
The hell, how do you do that? Like,
Oh, I know the driving is silly, and so now I'm different to you now. So I think only about 5% of my weddings are in Cornwall. So virtually every weekend I'm traveling, which I'd love to get more local weddings. Really, I mean, I don't mind shooting around, but it's nice to get back to your own bed, isn't it? Really, and
yeah. Like I definitely wouldn't be able to do like the that sort of traveling. Like it's just killer because you know yourself. You've probably been in a situation where you're driving like past 12 o'clock and like you're
mm,
just your body is wrecked and like you have to pull over either for like I've
definitely.
pulled over on the way home from wedding if I've done long ones where I've actually just had a kip on the side of the road.
Mm. That
You
makes
know.
sense. So that works. That kind of little power nap that can really help. Yeah.
Do you do you find yourself doing that at all or?
Oh, yeah, man. I have like double cappuccinos at the McDonald's
Yeah.
breaks that I do. Yeah, that really helps because yeah, like you, I have got tired doing that because now I used to stay away an extra night when I was traveling, so I'd stay the Saturday night near as well. But now I just like to get home. So often now I'm like finishing at like 10 and then I've got like a 6 or 5.5 hour drive ahead of me. So I don't get back till
Yeah.
about 4 in the morning. It's mental.
Jeez. Yeah, that's a tough one. That
That's
is a tough one.
one of your specific reportage awards that I love, by the way, it seems to be what it looks like during the speeches with a bride wiping away a tear with the shadow of the speech giver, which I presume is the
Yeah.
groom. Is it?
Yeah.
Yeah, in the background, it's so cool, man. It's so great how you kind of just see the shadow of the groom and their hands touching as well. Can you tell us about that image in particular? How you got that one? Did you see that opportunity to get that
Yeah.
shadow?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, I suppose I was lucky enough with some help from the videographer that was working on the day. He set up his lights and it just the position. I mean, I did see it before I took it, but I didn't. It wasn't something that the lighting wasn't something I set up. It was just the competition or the composition even, and like obviously the moment, they were that couple. They were brilliant and they were so like open about their feelings, and they were just so like so into the day, like, and there was a lot of emotion that day. So like his speech was brilliant. And yeah, the tears, it was just like, for me, it was just, I suppose, waiting for the moment. They were quite emotional, so you're kind of, you're thinking and you're hoping that something's gonna happen. Like, tears are
Yeah.
always great for photos, right?
Yeah, we want tears. We want
Yeah,
tears.
exactly. So it's just like, I'd seen the lighting, so it's just really waiting for the moment and just kind of setting up the composition. And like, I got the helping hand from the videographer. So
Well, that's a very modest way of saying it, but I think so many of us wouldn't even see that opportunity. So it's hard to think outside the box a lot of the time like that. And yeah, it's just such an awesome shot, man. And anyone's listening now whilst running or checking into McDonald's in a midnight, go to the site thisreportage.com, and I'll include that reportage award that Darren just spoke about there. But it's super cool, man, super cool. You mentioned the videographer there. Do you work often with videographers?
I do, like, actually there was a local videographer that I work with quite a bit. He's involved in the IPPVA,
Yeah.
which is the Irish Professional Photographers and Videographers Association. He was on
It's
to me
quite a
last
mouthful,
year.
isn't it?
I know, yeah. He was on to me last year just to ask, like, he was just looking for some statistics, and actually exactly 50% of my weddings last year had a videographer.
Oh wow, right,
So
that's cool. I mean, and that's quite high. I guess it's just different for all of us. So for me, I reckon only a couple of weddings a year I have a videographer. So do you have any kind of tips for working with videographers at all?
like, I don't know, tips. I'm not sure, like, because of the way I shoot is very kind of relaxed, and that documentary style, obviously. I don't kind of get in the way, but also because couples that kind of book my style, they don't want videographers really that are kind of too in your face either. So I actually
Mm,
work with a lot of videographers that would have predominantly a similar style. They might, some video guys might do, or girls might do a little bit maybe of pose and stuff kind of come couple time, but most of them don't. Most of them kind of follow similar lines to myself. So like, working with them, it's just making sure that you maybe have a little chat at the start of the day or something, to
mm.
go, just let them know how you work if you haven't worked with them before, or vice versa. And just kind of say, listen, this is how I kind of approach. There's no, like, I suppose for me, I would certainly let them know that sometimes I do kind of get in close, like in
Mm.
certain scenarios, like, and but I'm always kind of very mindful of how they need to work as well. Like, I'm certainly not the type of person who would step on anybody's toes just to get my shot, but
That's cool. Yeah, we both got to do our jobs, haven't we? We're both hired
exactly.
for that. Yeah, that's cool. Have you
Yeah.
ever had any nightmare videographer though? I'm sure there's a videography podcast where they're asking like, did you ever have a
Yeah,
photographer
exactly.
nightmare? Have you ever had any nightmares or anything?
No, I haven't really, honestly, like, I haven't. There's been like, certainly, I kind of seem to work with the same kind of people.
Right.
Kind of more often than not, and every once in a while you get somebody kind of new in the mix. But no, I've had no disasters. Like,
Good
sure,
going, especially with such a
yeah,
high percentage of your weddings having a videographer as well.
yeah, exactly. Like, no, I've never had like a disaster with a videographer. Like, there's been once or twice kind of like little issues that you're going, oh shit, I wish that didn't happen. But nothing
Mm,
that you'd be really complaining about. I'm very lucky with the kind of people I work with quite a bit.
that's cool, man. That's cool. Cool. Okay, let's change tack again, like in this. So, a totally random question that I've not asked in a long time. If you could be someone else for a day, living or dead, who would you be?
My God. Genie Mac. Who would I be? I have no idea.
That's a random
Who
one.
would I be? Like, I suppose, I don't know. I don't know. Like a different. I suppose you try and kind of be your hero. Like, certainly for me, like when I was growing up, my idol would have been Zinedine Zidane.
Oh,
Like the
really? A
foot.
big football fan, yeah.
Yeah, huge football fan. So, like, he was my idol. So if you're kind of looking from that point of view, and then
That'd be cool.
like
It'd be
that,
cool to be Zidane for a day. That would be cool.
that would be pretty cool. Yeah. Well, in his playing days, like, definitely. Or
Okay, yeah. Not
would have been
management
amazing.
days.
Like. Yeah. Listen, as you grow up, your idols are probably are not as strong as they were when you were kids, you know. So,
That's true. Have you ever
it's,
met someone that you've kind of like had, a lot of respect for, or just kind of idolized or something, and then kind of, because they always say don't meet your heroes, do they? But it's just interesting to hear people's experience in that. Have you ever been disappointed with someone that you met?
um, no, I can't say I've ever really met anyone that like famous that would have been that. Like, there's like other photographers that I hugely respect, but
Mm,
um, to be honest, I don't have many heroes. You know, I don't put kind of people up in a pedestal like that so much.
I think that's
You know,
good.
not now, not like you're older and wiser and you realize that everyone has their flaws, right? So,
Yeah, well, none of us know what we're doing, really.
yeah, exactly. Yeah.
What are you afraid of, Darren?
Afraid of probably getting complacent with the weddings and like not putting my, the same effort and having the same drive that like, we probably all have this when you're 50 and myself will be doing this
Mm.
in when you're 55 and will people still want me? So, to shoot it
Do you
like
think about
hopefully,
that much? Do you think about the future like that?
um, like it's hard not to, right? You know,
Yeah.
you've kids, so it's hard like go, will the income kind of be coming in from weddings at that stage? So,
Mm.
like personally, the way I feel right now, like I'm doing it 12 years and I probably have more interest in it now than I ever have. Like, I mean, I really
That's
do
really
love
cool.
what I do. So I don't see that fading, but
What do you think
that's
is
good.
what has kept that passion for you? What has, because I think some people are shot maybe like 6, 7 years and they're kind of losing the desire for it. Is what has kept that passion for you?
I don't know. Like probably the desire just to kind of always improve, and I'm very aware of how lucky I am. Like, I mean, it's been a lot of hard work to get the business where it is, but um, like I'm very much aware that like I said, I used to work in construction sites and that. So knowing that there's a lot harder jobs out there than what
Mhm.
I do, and the reward that you get for the work, both like, financially, there's a good reward, but it's the compliments you get from your kind of couples and that really kind of help as well, like the appreciation that they show you for, when you do a good job, like you get
That's so true. It's
between
so
people.
true.
Yeah. So
And
like
it
there's
it can be so easy to take this for granted, this kind of job that we have, and it is, yeah, I totally agree with you there. And you talking about compliments as well. Just then, you recently had a peer praise piece written, a peer praise piece. That's a lot. That's quite a lot of alliteration there. Written about you by a fellow TIR member, Jonathan Ryder. What was that like, finding out that someone had written, such nice things about you publicly as well?
Yeah, I mean, it's great. Like, I met Jonathan at the Develop workshop, it's a couple of years ago now, where I was speaking and kind of got chatting, and it's kind of a chat that kind of progressed kind of after it. And like, I don't know, I tried to help him out. I try and kind of help anybody out where I can. Like, but listen, he's bang on. Uh, Jonathan, like, is really sound guy. So yeah, it was. I mean, it's lovely. It's lovely to hear stuff like that, and
Oh, yeah.
hopefully to kind of know that you're helping somebody out is nice.
Oh, and I saw some other comments around that piece, people saying how much you've helped them and inspire them. So it's really cool, man. It's really, really cool. And part of Jonathan's peer praise piece about you, he talks about your great ability to get close.
For me, like, I really started off kind of doing it. Sometimes you're just forced in situations, like, because of the way I suppose I ended up in this situation where I shoot quite wide and quite close a lot. The fact that, like, I do a lot of weddings where, like, kind of your big Irish wedding, the kind of big families, and you might be in a small, like, country house where the house just jam packed and you're in amongst it, and like you're surrounded by people, and you've no choice but to kind of shoot like that. And
Yeah.
I always kind of saw that my images were better when I shot like that. You get more context
Mm.
um in your images to us what's going on, like, it's just that sense of, like, when you're looking at a photograph that you're in it, not just some kind of candid shot from afar,
That's so true.
Um, so you just, yeah, it's the life it brings to a photograph, so kind of tips in it. I don't know, you gotta jump in. But what I would say is like, yourself, Alan, in situations with weddings, you learn to predict moments that are going to happen.
Mm,
Um, so like for me, I suppose one tip would be, if you are going to do it and step in real close into moment, step in, be kind of prepared, like settings wise, that you're going in, you're shooting it, and you're stepping out just as quick, and not to be in people's faces all the
mhm.
time, like, because like much and all is it's great to get those type of shots, like you're there in somebody's wedding, they don't need you in their face constantly. So it's
Mhm.
about being, if you're doing it, be quick, jump in, get the shot, get out, and kind of even just step away from people, like. But
That's great
like from
advice.
yeah, I suppose for me, like the way I shoot it, like I always say that kind of everybody that's involved in the wedding is almost as important as the bride and groom. So I don't
Mm.
just focus on the bride and groom, like say throughout the day. Like it's very much about their families and kind of closest friends. So there's like a huge focus on the whole kind of party. So like I'm not in the bride and groom's or anybody's kind of face all that much throughout the day.
That's cool. Yeah, I totally agree with that. Yeah, totally agree with that. I say that on my client meetings as well. That obviously you guys are the most important people, and there'll be loads of photos of you, but it's just as important for me to capture all your family and friends. And I think then we get kind of more relaxed couples that are not just all about themselves as well.
Definitely. Yeah, definitely.
Mm.
I'd say yourself and myself probably have quite similar clients,
Mm.
just but yeah,
Mm.
so
All good. And one aspect, one aspect of your work, which I particularly love, is the way that you crop your images. You don't seem to stick to a set ratio like so many photographers do. Can you tell us more about that?
yeah, I mean, I don't think I have any great formula for it, Alan, really, except for that, like, I look at it kind of images individually and whatever way they need to be cropped, whether it's to like, you know, bring in the context of a photo or simplify the kind of the background of what's going on. But yeah, I've no great formula. Just take kind of each image individually. Like I've no kind of set routine, as in like I have to get certain photos, and they never like. There's no thinking of albums or anything like that afterwards. It's what's best for that photo
I
at
think
that time.
that's I think that is really cool, man. And such I think so many photographers are just stuck in that kind of like 3-2 ratio. And you give yourself so many more kind of creative opportunities and so many more opportunities to make a stronger frame by being able
Yeah,
to crop it however you see best.
yeah, exactly.
Very cool. Very cool. Very cool. Let's go. Let's go. Let's change tack again. Let's change tack again. Let's go. In terms of your editing specifically, because we just talked about cropping, can you tell us a bit about how you do yours? Any tips or bits of advice? Especially a kind of workflow would be quite interesting from you, especially with shooting so many weddings. I guess you must have that down to a T.
I probably could be a bit better, Alan, but like I do. I suppose for me, it's like the getting the cull done is a huge thing. Once you kind of get the cull done, like obviously I use kind of Lightroom, like I assume kind of pretty much everybody does.
Mm,
It's about just like I have certain presets that I use,
mm.
and I kind of always work off those. Like, well, I suppose for me, a huge thing is listening to music as I edit.
Oh, cool.
Like,
Okay.
yeah, yeah, the more kind of upbeat kind of, whether it be, I don't know, like I listen to different types of music, but the kind of more tempo there is in the music, the quicker I can edit, and actually the more creative. If I'm listening to certain types of music, it definitely helps me in my edit.
Oh, that's cool. Yeah, and it's so weird for me. I love hearing how people do that. For me, for like my first few years of editing, I never had any music on. I don't know why. It's so much more enjoyable with music on. It really
Yeah,
is.
it goes
What do you
both
like to
ways.
listen to then? What do you listen to?
I listen to like different, like say anything from like Stereophonics would be my favorite
Oh,
band.
really? Yeah, cool.
Yeah, I've been listening to them a long time. But like I listen to anything. Like I listen from stuff like kind of rock, indie, to bluegrass, to hip
Okay.
hop, to like, yeah, like in the last few years I've kind of really broadened my horizons music wise. But
It's
yeah, I
cool to
kind of
be
all
like that.
yeah, yeah, it is. Like, I mean, there's so much amazing music out there. But like,
Mm,
yeah, I kind of always kind of go back to to rock, whether it be some of the classic stuff or
Okay.
that. But yeah,
Stereophonics, man, that is old school. Stereophonics is old school.
yeah, I've been a fan since day one. So like, yeah, I
Oh,
remember.
that's cool.
Yeah,
Have you ever
so
seen them live?
about 5 or 6 times, I'd
Have you?
say.
Wow. Oh, cool. Are they a good live band? I've never seen them
Oh,
live.
yeah, amazing. Yeah,
Cool.
amazing.
Are
It's
they
been
still around?
years. Oh yeah, yeah, they are. I mean, the band has changed like throughout the years, obviously, but yeah, they're still around, still plugging away.
Oh, cool.
Uh,
Okay. That's good. I only know that kind of like, is it A Thousand Trees or something? Is that a
yeah,
song?
yeah,
Yeah.
good. Yeah, good call.
That's a good
Good
tune.
one
That
to
is.
know, man. Most people would know like "Have a Nice Day" or something like it's stuff, but
Oh, right. Yeah.
if you want a good wedding song, Alan, look, "Too Many Sandwiches." If you want to, you should check that one out. "Too Many
Too
Sandwiches."
many.
It's a good wedding song.
Oh,
But
okay. Sounds funny. It's a good title.
yeah, it is. It is. It wouldn't be it wouldn't be a first dance type song now.
Oh, right.
Uh,
Okay.
work it.
Uh,
But
you're speaking at Doc Day this coming March, which is very exciting. You know, the first Doc Day was awesome. I'm really looking forward to the second one. How are you feeling about that? You looking forward to it? You know, what can we
yeah.
expect from your talk? Any little preview?
Well, if I give you previews now, I'll give it all away. No, I suppose what I'll do is I'll probably go through my approach, and I know that I've like say Kevin and Annie have asked me to speak about one or two little kind of aspects of my work. Like a lot of it is that kind of shooting close and that kind of approach to my work. But as I haven't because of this COVID thing, I haven't like set out exactly what I'm gonna. I definitely I've written notes of what I've been kind of jotting down notes here and there. But like a big thing about my work is that shooting real close to the action and really being in amongst it and how to do that. And then there's very much like an what I would kind of consider an Irish kind of side to my work. Like I shoot kind of a lot of your kind of Irish traditional wedding, and there's definitely aspects of my work that is there's definitely features of that kind of run through my work quite a bit. Like, but I suppose it's probably maybe it's not too much different to any other kind of traditional wedding, but it's there's just kind of parts of that. Like I'm going to touch on a couple of different things, but the
Okay.
shooting close is definitely going to be kind of one of them, and my approach and my reasons why, and that. But there's a couple of other aspects that I'm not sure that I've been asked to speak about, but I'm not sure I'm supposed to be giving them away. So,
Okay.
but hopefully it's of value to people, right? But listen, Doc Day 21 is going to be amazing. Some of the speakers there are just. It's crazy to think that I'll be on the same kind of stage as them.
Oh man,
Like,
yeah, exciting.
yeah. So yeah, because last year was brilliant.
Oh, it
It
was
was
really fun, wasn't it? And that was when I met you for the first. I've only met
yeah,
you then,
yeah,
haven't I? Yeah.
yeah.
So
That was
yeah,
it.
that was a fab day. Yeah, people do head to well, you can head to thisreportage.com and there's a link to Doc Day there. And yeah, Darren's going to be talking and York Place Studios as well, and Fabio Marilla, and yeah, it's just going to be great, isn't it? It's going to be cool.
Yeah, yeah. Like, I mean, to be able to share the stage with like York Place, like their work is just insane, next level. And Fabio, yeah, it's gonna be crazy, crazy.
And we need the party as well. We need the party.
Yeah, last party was a good one. It
It
was a good,
was,
but it
yeah.
was a late one. But
Yeah, we were like, yeah. Well, I can't even remember what time I left you. It was late though.
yeah, I was there to the bitter end anyway, till the last pub closed. So that's usually where you find me anyway, Alan.
Darren, has there been a specific turning point in your career at all? You know, something perhaps a certain wedding or an award or anything that has just had a major impact on your career?
I would say, like I spoke about this before about a kind of workshop that I did. There was one moment at a wedding that really did um, have a big impact in how I work. Like from then on, and it's probably I don't know, maybe 6 or 7 years ago. I can remember the wedding. I can't remember where it was, but essentially what happened, like it was one of those kind of mistakes that you make, and you're going, "Oh shit! Like I'm not gonna let this happen again." And the situation was like this sticks out in my mind quite a bit. Like situation was the mother of the bride on the morning of the wedding. The bride was in her dress. She was given like a gift to the bride, and it was obviously something that she'd been putting a lot of thought into and that. And I just remember at the time when she handed it over, like it was such a big moment for the mother. and I spoke. I don't know what I said, but I interrupted that moment. Just I suppose trying to be nice and friendly, but like I at that time the bride turned and like gave her attention to me instead of like and I saw it on the mother's face, like
Mm.
you know, it was ruined, and I was like, oh my God, what have I done? Like, and it wasn't so much right at that moment at that time, but like when you're kind of driving home in the car
Mm.
afterwards, I was like, I really effed that up. Like, you know, that was such a huge moment for the mother. She'd obviously been planning it, and here's me with my mouth, and yeah, I ruined that. So from that kind of moment on, it really did change how I kind of worked. So like when I'm at a wedding, kind of say I like the morning prep is a huge part of the day for me. It's like my favorite part of any wedding, like shooting the morning prep. And
Okay, yeah.
um so like when I go in now to like the mornings, and ever since that moment, like I don't speak a whole lot to
Mhm.
to people that are around me. Like I mean I engage to the point where they know I'm friendly and that, but
Yeah.
I really kind of, and I'll probably laugh along with people if there's funny stuff happening, but I really don't engage too much. Like obviously not to the point of rudeness or anywhere near that. Like, but I'm
Mm.
not a big chatty person. I let the couples and their families and friends kind of enjoy the day. Let them have all the action, and
That's
I'm
cool.
just kind of shooting it, you know. So that's probably for me. That's probably the one of the biggest standout kind of moments
That's
that
really
I.
interesting. Yeah, really interesting to hear that, man, as well. I'm really similar to you as well in that I would say hello, did you sleep? I always do that kind of cliche question. And then I tell them to just ignore me. And I virtually only speak then if I'm spoken to, I don't really start conversations and things.
No, yeah,
Um,
it's a great way to do it. Like because, I mean, everything's going to be happening in front of you anyway. And if you want to show, I suppose, a true representation of their day, I mean, you're a part of it, right? So it's
mm.
inevitable that your attention is going to be drawn to you. But like, I mean, just allow them to enjoy their moments between each other, and then show them those afterwards. I suppose that's what our
Mm.
job is to do. Like, you know.
Mm, that's cool.
Yeah.
Just for you to even pick up on that kind of moment between the bride and her mom and then feel annoyed at yourself, it just shows, how empathetic you are, which is such an important thing to have in this job. Some people, some photographers would not have even had any kind of sensitivity around that kind of scene. And, so it's great that you do, it shows that you care. Yeah.
Yeah, I suppose if you ruined one moment again, a million others, hopefully that was worth it, right? Maybe not for that, but she probably hates me.
No. Is there anything that bugs you about our industry at all? About the wedding photography industry or the wedding industry in general?
Um, I don't know. Like that, I can't say there's anything that bugs me too much. I mean, like I suppose sometimes when you see the stuff, the kind of the importance people put on certain things, like whether it be just some
Mm.
of the decorations and stuff like that, and candy carts and stuff. You're going, is it necessary? Would you like for me? If it was me, I'd be thinking, would you not just spend that money on the honeymoon? That's
That's true.
probably, But listen, each to their own. Like, some people love it, and people get swept up in their weddings as well. Like, so,
Mm.
um, no, like there's nothing that really there's nothing that bugs me. Like,
You sound
yeah,
very easygoing and very positive person, which is a very good thing.
yeah. Well, I mean, I like positive. Well, hopefully, but I'm certainly quite an easygoing person, pretty chilled, and I don't have like personality wise, I don't have any kind of highs or lows. I'm quite in the middle.
That's good. Good way to be, and especially with this, with the pandemic as well. That is a good way to be to have that in your kind of personality repertoire, I think. Mm. Um, Oh, I was gonna say something then to do with. Oh yes, because because you're kind of laid back. Does that mean do you never get kind of nervous or anxious before shooting a wedding? Have you always been okay with that kind of side of things?
Yeah, well, I wouldn't say obviously always because when you're starting off or whatever, but yeah, it's been years, Alan, since I've ever like really. No, I don't get nervous to be honest, Alan. Like I don't know whether it's a good thing or a bad thing. I barely think about the weddings before I shoot them. I don't get nervous. Kind of even I know I've heard you and kind of some of the other podcasts saying like, driving up, you're having your nervous wee and stuff.
Yeah,
But yeah, no, man, I don't think too much about them. Like I obviously, I kind of speak to the couple maybe the week of the wedding. Like I probably have a 20-minute phone call with couples, say the Monday of the wedding, or something like that, and like just get all the information they want. Apart from that, like I know what I'm doing. Um, Once I know that whatever shots they might have on a list that they want kind of ticked off, I know I'm always on my toes. I'm a hard worker. Like I never let the camera down. I'm never like off taking a break. That's not kind of part of my kind of style. Like, so I know that I'm kind of always going to be prepared for anything that happens in front of me. And yeah, so I'm
that's
no,
great. I want to be like that, man. I want to be like that. Teach me. I want to be like that.
but I,
Is
I,
there
I,
any specific element of the day that you know that you get more anxious than others at all, or is it not just everything? Everything's cool. Like some people that are really into the documentary side really don't like it when it comes to like the couple time stuff, and do you like that stuff as well?
yeah, no, I enjoy it. Like, I mean, I love shooting the morning prep because you never know what house kind of when you're walking into. You don't know what kind of who's going to be there as such. Like,
Mm.
what type of house you're gonna drive up to. And that's so it's the kind of unpredictability of that I love, and I love just capturing. Then as well, those people are in their most natural environment if they're getting ready at home. So like I love kind of jumping into those situations, whatever they may be. Um, yeah, a couple of time. I mean, I enjoy it. Like I don't overdo it. Like I mean, 20 minutes with a couple for portraits is kind of about as much as I shoot.
I saw one
So
of your recent portraits though, man. Just amazing lights, like the couple in the middle and the bottom, and it's kind of a wide shot that you put up a few days ago. It's so
oh
good.
yeah, yeah. Cheers. Yeah, like I mean,
Magic.
I yeah, kind of take a relaxed approach to my couple shoots as well. So like there's nothing too kind of contrived about what I do. It's quite natural and relaxed really. So yeah, I don't know, none of it phases me, to be honest.
Oh, that's good, man. I wish I could be like that. I wish I could be like that.
Ah, if you've seen your work, you don't get like that.
Oh well, I mean, every morning though, I do. I'm just a funny person, I think. I'm just a strange person. I am. Darren, I think we've got time just for a couple more questions. Thank you. It's gone so quickly, this one. I know I do say it quite a lot, but it's gone really quick. I looked down at my the clock here. I thought we'd been talking about 20 minutes. It's like over 50 minutes. So, right, just a couple more questions. A big one, because I think people, you're so good at what you do, man. I think people really be interesting to hear. And if they can't get to Doc Day, hopefully they can and hear it in the flesh. But whilst you're here now, what would be your top tips then to help someone become better at the documentary side specifically?
Um, God,
No,
top
it's a
tips.
big question.
Yeah, it's a tricky one. I would say like you definitely need to be in amongst the action. If you're
Mm,
not, you're not going to make the best of the work. So close, definitely staying close, and just kind of being on your toes and listening. Like a huge part of me with the whole not talking, that I like the both you and I have said about on the morning, like don't speak too much, like because you're just drawing attention away from what's happening and drawing attention towards you. So like not talking, but also along with that, then kind of listening. So like I mean, you'll hear some like things that might tee up your next shot if there's a joke or something being said in the morning. If you're listening to that, you might go, right, I'm gonna go for the reactions here or something rather than the
mm.
person telling the joke or just
That's a
so
really good one. It's kind of like using all your senses, isn't it? I mean, that is a
yeah,
really
yeah,
good one.
definitely. No, like it's definitely important. Like yeah, major tips is definitely just being amongst the action. That's it for me. That's got to be it. Because if you're not in it, like you get the sense of life in a photograph if it's wide and if you're close. Like because I shoot a lot with my 20 mil. I
Oh,
mean,
wow.
so I love that. It's like my favorite lens for the action shots. Say, um, yeah, and
That's cool. I totally agree with you with that and close. Did was it just natural for you? Did you always start kind of close, like 12 years ago, or did it
no,
it's something that
no.
came along?
No, probably something that just, as you're seeing it, like I said, sometimes you're thrown into those situations.
Mm,
Where the type of weddings that I shoot, like you'd have big families there together. Sometimes you're just, and there's nothing you can do. And I think it just came naturally to see that my photos are just generally better, like that. I would have definitely shot for more with my 7200 and that when I was starting out and you're a bit more timid, kind of in amongst it all, but.
mm.
No, I think sometimes you're forced into it, and once you'll see it in your work. Review your work, and always kind of look. Oh, right, I've messed up here today doing in a little instance. What was it? How do you kind of not let that happen again?
Mm.
And I think if you're constantly just reviewing your work little by little and picking out just like those little marked improvements, then you're just going to eventually kind of get better. Like,
Great advice. Yeah, it's great advice, man. Really is great advice. Right, penultimate question now. Something that I just always find interesting. What does it mean to be successful to you?
ooh, I suppose like everything else, there's successful in business and successful in life, right? So
Yeah,
I don't know. In business, it's for me, it's just about having a strong enough business that I can like comfortably live my life with my family. Like so, like I
mhm,
mean, lucky enough, we've built a good business here that means you don't have to worry about the bills too much and
that's cool.
the kids can have what they want and we get the holidays that we want. So it's I suppose having a successful business. Um, like I don't know, just that life isn't an effort with regards to having to pay the bills. For me, that's
Mm,
it. Like I said, it's. I'm not into big highs or big lows, so I don't want it all with regards to money and cars and all that, but or anything like that or massive house or. But I also at the same time, for me, I suppose success is not having to kind of be looking towards the next credit card bill and
oh
lucky over
yeah.
here. To, we've been able to do that.
I
My wife is and say in accounts. She works in accounts. That's her trade. So she's got the books kind of sorted, and she
oh,
has her
she's on it. She's on
her
it.
financial plan, so she doesn't let me stray. I don't actually have much control of it all, really, Ellen. I go out and shoot the weddings, and she's got the finances down to a T.
That's good. That's a good relationship, man. That is good.
I'm honestly not allowed at the bank accounts, so that's
Oh no, that's
you
funny,
can
but
laugh
I
about it. It's the
yeah.
truth.
Oh, I can relate to that. I can relate to that, man. But no, I love that for your success, and yeah, I totally relate to that as well. That's awesome. Oh man, okay, and cool. I'm going to ask one last question, which one I've not asked in a long time. So, do you eat the canapes?
Definitely. If
Yeah.
you've seen me, Ellen, I'm not a size 10, so
Do you have any kind of like technique to go and grab one or?
yeah, well, I just try and do it not in front of the bride and groom.
Yeah.
That's kind of it. Like, I don't mind getting caught by the guests, but as long as like the bride and groom don't see me like running further across the room, like,
Yeah.
yeah,
Have you ever had like a waitress or waiter like kind of like not want to give you one or like turn their eyes up at you when you try and take one?
no, I
Have you
can't.
not? No, that's
Uh,
maybe they're friendlier in Ireland, man.
maybe, but I suppose I see the same faces quite a bit, like, right? That whole working local kind of staying, so I'm not going to new venues, so people kind of get to know me, I suppose, a bit.
Okay,
But
yeah. They know. Oh,
it's
that's
to keep me
Darren, the
away
canapé
from the,
thief.
yeah, exactly, to keep me away from the candy cart. That's what
Really? Is that your weakness?
that's my weakness, Alan. Yeah,
Not McDonald's. Do you have a McDonald's on the way back though?
well, there's a few about, but I don't. I'm vegetarian as well, Alan, so it doesn't,
Okay.
it doesn't kind
Eat the
of.
fries though. They're good fries, man.
Could do, yeah. Like, I suppose, yeah, I should do. But like, yeah, I've probably filled myself up with sweets at the candy cart, so that's why.
Oh man, awesome. Darren, thank you so much for that. That was awesome. It's so fun talking to you, and you shared so much gold there. Thank you. It's awesome.
Cool. Well, thanks a million for having me.
Oh no, it's a real honor to have you on here. Anyone listening, whilst you're walking, running, or doing housework, whatever, head to thisreportage.com. I'll include link to Darren's site and that specific reportage award that we spoke about earlier. And come to Doc Day. Darren's going to be speaking, and it's going to be great. The first one was awesome. The second one's going to be, even better. So yeah, man. And I'll see you there as well.
Yeah, definitely. Listen, Doc Day 21 is going to be class. The guys with the effort they put into the first one was amazing, and like the lineup they have for the second one is it's insane.
Yeah, it's going to be awesome. How do you say Annie and Kevin's surname properly?
Kafash.
Kefash. There we go. I've always been saying it wrong. I think I've been saying Kefake or something.
Yeah. Oh man, I hope that's right now. It definitely is.
It's going to be right now.
I'm confident in that, and we'll soon see, right?
Kefash, great. Yeah, so Annie and Kevin created Doc Day. We just support them as Reportage, but it's their baby, and they created such an awesome event last year. And yeah, as you say, 2021 is going to be awesome. Man, thank you so much again. And hopefully I'll see you there in March.
Yeah, definitely. Looking forward to catching up, and we'll it's gonna be a good time.
Yeah, man. Awesome. Thanks again. See you later.
Listen, thanks a million.
Bye, man. You've been listening to the 46th episode of the This Is Reportage podcast. Darren was a real pleasure to talk to, and he shared so much gold there. Hope you enjoyed listening. We have 45 other episodes of the podcast released with photographers such as Menino Conyes Menina, Sidlali Rico, David Scholes, Stephen Hairshaft, Ross Harvey, and many more too. You can now also ask Alexa for the This Reportage podcast, which is pretty nifty. If you've been wondering whether it's reportage or reportage, Alexa says reportage, so I'm sticking with that. If you're not yet a member of TIR, check out all the benefits of joining us, including an unlimited number of images on your profile, 60 Reportage Award and 18 Story Award entries per year, invites to our physical meetups and parties, exclusive discounts, over 17 hours of educational videos featuring tips and advice from some of the world's best photographers, with more videos added regularly, and much more too. We've also recently launched our sister site for documentary family photography, This Is Reportage Family. No poses, nothing staged, this is Reportage. And this is bye for now.